So if you've ever wanted to be like, I want to have more fun in my life, but then you've been hit with the fact that you don't really know what you like to do for fun, I think this is a good section to listen to. First of all, we're adults, and I think that this happens. There's a lot of reasons why I think so, but we'll just unpack that as I read it. When I thought about fun, I realized to my surprise that I didn't have a good sense of what I found fun. Only recently had I grasped one of the most important secrets of adulthood. Just because something was fun for someone else didn't mean it was fun for me, and vice versa. There are many things that other people enjoy that I don't. I love the idea of playing chess, going to a lecture on international markets, doing crossword puzzles, getting a pedicure, eating dinner at a hot new restaurant, having a subscription to the opera, or season tickets to the Knicks. I can see exactly why other people enjoy those activities. I wish I enjoyed them, but I don't. Some blog readers experience the same tension. So she posed this question on her blog, and then the responses that people gave are what I'm about to read next. And I also want to add that as adults, I think that we start to do things in proximity with other people. So we will start to think like, oh yeah, I'm doing things that I enjoy. So for instance, if the only time you go out is when you're going out with other people, like you're going on a date with your husband, you're going to catch up with your friends, you're going for coffee with somebody, you're going to brunch. All of these things are shared interest in an agreed upon spot that you're going to do with other people, and not necessarily things that you enjoy on your own. And so there's a point of compromise, and then there's a point of us not realizing, wait, I'm actually enjoying the company of the other person, not necessarily the thing. So that's how sometimes you'll be like, oh yeah, I was going out and I was having a good time and I was having fun, but then it's like, was I really having fun, or was I just enjoying the company of the other person while we did something that both of us kind of like doing? And that's why I also think it's important to find things to do by yourself, because when you're by yourself, you don't have to be like, oh, this other person wouldn't enjoy this. You just get to focus on what it is that you like to do. And it's easier to find your own interest in things that you find fun when you're the focal point. So over the last few years, I've started figuring out what I really find fun. I realized I had a lot of stuff and activities in my life that I didn't enjoy. These were things that others find fun, but they just weren't to me. Accepting that what others find fun won't necessarily be fun for me felt like a huge breakthrough. It's hard enough to stay in touch with what's fun for you without thinking that you should like something that others find fun. For instance, I enjoy movies, but there are cheaper activities that I enjoy much more. So I've gradually cut them out of my life. I'll go occasionally with a friend, but I don't watch nearly as many as I used to. And I used to watch a couple a week. And I think as we get further into adulthood, it's almost embarrassing to realize that you're like in your late 20s, early 30s, maybe even your 40s, and to be like, I don't even know what I like to do. But if you've never taken time to enjoy the company of yourself, you probably don't know what you really like to do, because you're always with the wind and with other people. So this is why it is really important to have that time and that space alone, so that you can go to explore these things without the expectations of others. Because can we also talk about the fact that a lot of what we say that we like, a lot of things that we enjoy, some of us, even our career choices, the thing that we have to do for the rest of our life, was dictated by the opinions of other people. There are people, and I know y'all don't have to tell on yourself, there are people that went into career paths because it was what their parents wanted them to do, or because it was a sure way to make sure that they could make a living for the rest of their life, but they don't really like what they're doing. Similarly, there are people who have hobbies and interest in things, and I'll give a very simple example. Many of us, as we get older, we're like, oh, I have to start working out more to take care of myself. And so what do? We start going to the gym and lifting weights and doing cardio, even though that's not necessarily what we like to do. We don't take the time to slow down and say, oh, let me try Pilates. Let me just try walking. Let me see if maybe there's a dance class that I can go to. We don't do that. We just jump into like trying to solve the problem. If we're bored, I'm like, let me go catch a movie. If you want to go do something or catch up with a friend, oh, let's go to dinner. We don't ever stop to just be in a space to do nothing, be unstimulated, have no requirements, and then just decide, what do I want to do right now? And enjoy ourselves doing that thing alone. That's the only way. I feel like that's the best way to really figure out what it is that you like to do. Because when you start to involve other people and when you start to involve necessity, then it's hard. So if you're making a decision about your career based on necessity, you're going to look for something that's high paying, that's long lasting, and that does not have a high rate of going away anytime in the near future, right? But if you're secure and you're well taken care of, you can be like, oh, I can find something that I'm passionate about. And I mean, I'm not saying one thing is wrong or right, but I'm just saying that that's the way that it works. So when you are bored and you're like, let me go entertain myself with other people, you're not going to necessarily find things that you like to do. But if you're just not doing anything and you leave yourself the space to be unstimulated and to actually think about some things, and you start to try things and you go out and do things alone, you'll find what it is that you like. So somebody else says, my husband posed this question to me a year ago. What do you find fun? And I had to think long and hard about it. Most of my pleasures are quiet and solitary. I love to be absorbed in a good book. I love to do needlework. I love to make jewelry. I've given myself permission to say that's okay. I do love to play board games, though, especially with my children. I think also, as becoming a parent, your requirements for yourself start to go out the window. And you're so focused on the children. So like, you're like, I got to get them to practice. I got to get them ready. I have to do their hair. I have to make sure that they eat. And you're constantly on this spinning cycle of revolving your life around your children, to the point where you feel like reading a book, even if it's enjoyable to you, is not necessarily something that you do for fun. Or you might feel like having time alone is not, oh, that's not for fun. I have to go do this, this, and this. But if you are really honest with yourself about those things, you'll be able to say, like how she said, you'll be able to admit it. Like, oh yeah, it's really boring what I like to do for fun, but for me, it is fulfilling. And I think it's important as a parent, especially moms, to have something that you do for yourself and not just for your kids, because it can be really overwhelming to just be doing things for other people all the time and never stopping to enjoy something for yourself. So the next person said, my understanding of fun is definitely not the same as other people's. I enjoy solitary, quiet things. Even the sports I enjoy are quiet ones. Reading is fun, both books and blogs. Computer programming is fun. Diving and mountain climbing are fun. Yoga is fun. I don't do yoga. Y'all know why. Shopping, on the other hand, which girls are supposed to enjoy, is definitely not fun. Parties are generally not fun either. I feel like I wrote this myself, except for a couple of things. So she said, I tended to overrate the fun activities that I didn't do and underrate my own inclinations. I felt like the things that other people enjoyed were more valuable or more cultured, more, well, legitimate. But now it was time to be Gretchen. That's the name of the author. I needed to acknowledge to myself what I enjoyed, not what I wished I enjoyed. If something was really fun for me, it would pass this test. I looked forward to it. I found it energizing, not draining, and I didn't feel guilty about it later. I told a friend about my quest, and she said, gosh, if I had something fun I wanted to do, I'd feel frustrated because I wouldn't have time for it. I don't want to add anything else to my plate. That's so sad. Like, I don't want to add anything else to my plate, even if it's going to be fun and rewarding to me. That's so sad. This struck me as a bleak view, but it was something I might well have said myself in the past. My happiness project had shown me that I was better off saying I have plenty of time to have fun, because you do, and you should. But what exactly did I find fun? What did I want to do? I couldn't think of much. Probably you too. Well, there was one thing. I really loved reading children's literature. I've never quite figured out what I get from children's literature that I don't get from adult literature. But there's always something. The difference between novels for adults and novels for children isn't merely a matter of cover design, bookstore placement, and the age of the protagonist. It's a certain quality of atmosphere. Children's literature often deals openly with the most transcendent themes, such as battle between good and evil and the supreme power of love. These books don't gloss over the horror and fascination of evil, but in the end, in even the most realistic novels, good triumphs. Novelists for adults don't usually write that way. Perhaps they fear being seen as sentimental or priggish or simplistic. Instead, they focus on guilt, hypocrisy, and perversion of good intentions, the cruel workings of fate, social criticism, the slipperiness of language, the inevitability of death, sexual passion, unjust accusation, and the like. These are grand literary themes. Yet I also find it enormously satisfying to see good prevail over evil, to see virtue vindicated and wrongdoing punished. I love didactic writing, whether by Tolstoy or Madeleine L'Engle. And then she goes on to explain this a little bit more, like why she likes children's literature. But the reason I wanted to read that is because, think about it. Like, if somebody said, what do you like? And you said, oh, children's literature, they might be like, but she just explained exactly what the concept was behind it and why she enjoys it. And she continues to go into detail, and she's proud of it. Like, she's at an age now where she can admit that she's proud of that thing. And I read that to say, maybe the thing that you find fun is completely boring and weird to other people, but that is okay. And the thing is, even if you don't know what you find fun, you're never going to find it if you continue to people please and try to immerse yourself in things that other people find fun just because it's something to do. You have to pull yourself away and not be afraid to spend time alone so that you can figure those things out. And I really hope that this helps.